Hi everybody, it's Katie. I'm really excited to share with you how I make money in Palia. I've had a lot of people ask me about this question. I think we're all trying to figure out how to get everything in the game that we want and build our houses. In order to help you out, I'm just going to tell you guys what I do. I'm sure I'm not the richest person in Palia, but I have been able to kind of garden and be happy at the same time so that I'm playing the game. So here is how I've set it up. You can see I have the blueberry bush, it's just in the corner, and then the tree in the back, the apple tree, and it goes back and forth with the tomatoes and the potatoes so everything stays watered. I have that set up on 3 of them, but over here on this little stretch, I have 3 plots reserved where I just do tomatoes and potatoes back and forth. That keeps everything on the side watered, and then I can plant anything I want on the side. If you're really new, early in gardening, maybe you only have 3 plots or you haven't opened up blueberries or apple trees yet, this is a really good way to go. This is how I did all of my gardening before. There are several really good benefits to this method. First, it's easy to keep track of. I just put potatoes and tomatoes back and forth and plant anything else down the side that I want. If you're just looking to get money, cotton seeds sell super well. The second benefit is that it's really conducive to in-game play. That means if one of the characters asks for carrots for one of their weekly wants, I can plant carrots if I don't have them, or I can keep regular food for cooking and different ingredients. It's just a lot easier to enjoy the actual game. The third really big benefit is that I think it looks better. I know I'm really silly that way, but aesthetics matter to me, and I just really like the way that the tomatoes look going down the side with everything on the side being the same. It just is better for me in my eyes. I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter to you, but some of the plots that I see are so complicated, they actually look a little bit like an overgrown garden that just doesn't look well maintained, and I love my little crisp design. Anyhow, fertilizer is what really brings this into some good money making. Over in my glow worms you saw in the farm over there, I've picked up some of the fertilizer that boosts production. I definitely focus that fertilizer on my apple trees and my blueberry bushes. Those are really high value, and it's really good for making jam, which we'll talk more about in a minute, but it helps to make a lot more produce available to you. There are a lot of different things that you can put in your worm and glowworm farms to make them produce. I typically do fishing. I grill up the fish and put it in there, and I find that that's very productive for me. I get a ton of questions about how fertilizer works, so just really quick here, if you put the fertilizer down, you're just going to put 1 down, and if you do one of the trees or the blueberry bushes, it'll take 4 or it'll take 8 because it covers 1 per spot. The fertilizer goes down 1 per spot. It uses that up 1 per spot every single day at 6 a.m. when all the gardening things tick and do an update. Then you can put more fertilizer down again to fulfill the next day. Here's the really cool part. You can put more than 1 day's worth of fertilizer down at once. So on my first blueberry, I put down 1. On the second blueberry bush, I put down 2. And on the third, I put down 3, just so you can see a little bit when that refreshes as to how that works. Over here in my little gardening nook is where you can see the first way I make money. All these tomatoes, they're all star tomatoes by the way, because I use all star seeds, go in to make more star seeds. And those star seeds for the tomatoes sell for really good money. 60 gold a piece. Over here are the potatoes. I definitely do potatoes for potato seeds, but I don't usually do as many of them as seeds. I save some of them for canning, which I'll show you in just a minute because the seeds are only 30. For the best seed profit, do star apples. They sell for a whopping 1,050 gold each for each seed packet. Don't forget to keep some on hand for growing more apple trees, and you might end up using all those apples for jelly if you're going to do cake parties, which I do a lot of, but if you're not going to do cake parties, just do the seeds and sell the seeds. Because I only use my star crops to make star seeds, I actually don't need the boost to the quality of my crops. They all come out as star crops now, so I usually just sell the extra fertilizer from the regular worm farm. It's getting ready to tick over to 6 a.m. in Palia, which means the garden is going to refresh. And as you watch it, you'll see the crops grow, a little bit of weeds might pop up, and you'll see a big shift in where the fertilizer was. I just put one fertilizer down on everything except for the second blueberry bush had 2 and this third one had 3. So you'll see they are still fertilized for the next round of updates. It's important to note that if you put fertilizer down now before harvesting it, it doesn't do anything. The fertilizer has to go down when the game updates at 6 a.m. for it to take effect on the crops. For those of you who really want to churn out big money, there is a thing called cake parties. There's a really cool celebration cake recipe in the game, and if you get together with a lot of other people, you only have to provide one ingredient to get the benefit of a really expensive item to sell. This method that I'm using is also really good if you want to prepare for a cake party, because you could do all 4 plots with trees if you wanted to. You could actually do quite a few of just blueberries for some of the blueberry pie and make a lot of money. Regardless, you need the fruit if you want to make the jam, if you want to be able to make the cakes, so that's a really good way to participate. Or you need the money if you want to buy ingredients from Zeki's shop to participate in other ways. This isn't a video about cake parties. I just wanted you to know that that's a really big way to make money, but it's an active way, and what I'm trying to show you today is a little bit more of an AFK or an inactive way to make money while you're off of the game and sleeping, or while you're other places in the world doing other things. I make money in a lot of ways: fishing, bug catching, picking up shells, just all kinds of things that you can do to make money in this game. Gardening is just the standby one that has really started making me the most money. It's an hour later and we're on the next Palia day. You can see everything just updated to the new harvest. The second blueberry bush now doesn't have any fertilizer, and the third one that had 3 on it still has 1 more left. So you can see it just used that 6 a.m. tick to use one of the fertilizers to boost the production. With star fruit, I make star seeds. The star seeds produce more star fruit, and they almost entirely produce star fruit, which sometimes even gives me more star seeds. And if you use the fertilizer, you can get a lot more of the star quality things with it. So it's a really good combination to keep in mind. It really takes very little time to tend to my garden each day, and if I'm out in the world doing something, I don't have to worry about my garden because I know that the tomatoes and the potatoes are going to keep everything watered for me, so I can come back during whatever time in the day is convenient for me. Inside my house are my preserve jars, and this is where I put things like onions and carrots if I want to make them into food. Food that I just use I find is a really good source. And then I also use it to make jams and jellies for all of the different cakes and pies, or a cake party, or even just to sell straight up is a really good price. I also use it for pickled potatoes, as that goes for 102 each if you're using star items. The tomatoes are good to pickle too if you just needed food or if you have extras, but they're actually more valuable as seeds at 60 gold than they are pickled for 51. But pickle the potatoes for sure. It's been a few hours since I did all the harvesting and showed you what I was planting before. I want to show you how much money you can make. So this was just a few hours mostly of gameplay. I was playing around with the market and other things that are out right now, and you can see over $5,000 just from what happened at the farm. This was mostly tomato seeds, and again, the cotton that brings in a lot, the pickled potatoes, and just some of the extra crops and fertilizer that I had sitting around. And that was enough to bring in over $5,000 just from playing for a couple of hours. It's the next day in real life, and I wanted to show you some of the progress that my preserves jars and my seed makers had overnight. So I have all kinds of goodies to toss into my shipping bin, and as I get it all in here, look at that! Isn't that an amazing total? Now, keep in mind, I wasn't playing the game. I was doing chores and sleeping during the time that the game was working, and that's over $13,000 just while the game was off entirely from putting all the same things in order, mostly seeds for blueberries, apples, tomatoes, and then pickled potatoes and extra crops. Okay, this will be the very last example I give you for profit. I've been out playing with my friends for a few hours. We did a bunch of fishing and we did a bunch of mining earlier, and now I've come back to check in on the stuff that I have, and you can see such a good amount of profit. It's a good thing too because I've been dropping a ton of money, not only on upgrading my house, but on buying things at the Maji Market. I'm so obsessed with all of the cute little things there to purchase. But I got really lucky in fishing today, and I'm super excited about being able to get my money back up again. I also collect a lot of resources when I'm out playing the game actively. So one of the things I do are just pick up the ingredients I need for the Fisherman's Brew. The Emerald Carpet and the Crystal Lake Lotus are pretty easy to find in Kilima, and you just add those together to make the Fisherman's Brew, which is a recipe you get from Einar. It's expensive when you buy it. I think it was 1,000 gold. I've had it for a while now, but it actually does a really good return for your money. It may not seem like it, but you create 5 of these every single time, so the profit for the brew is actually 5 times the individual cost of selling the brew, and I find this is a really good way just to make some quick extra money when I'm collecting resources. You can sell them all, but I often keep the regular ones for actual use in the game and just sell the star ones off. It depends on if I have any big fishing trips coming up soon. There's very little money to be made in baking one of the celebration cakes all just by yourself. It'll create 3 cakes at a time, but buying all the ingredients and getting everything together, I think it's just like 100 or 200 gold that you make for a lot of work. If you have a group to play with, or if you're on the Palia Discord, or if you follow any streams on YouTube or Twitch that do cake parties, purchasing the ingredients is a really good way to make the cake, sell the cakes, and make money. Oh, and experience. Keep in mind you also need to buy something from Zeki's store every day so that you get the coin for his machine, so I usually just pick up things like butter when I'm there, even if I don't need it right away, every single day, just to make sure I can get the coin. I hope something in here was helpful, or you were able to learn a little bit better how to put your garden together so that it works for whatever your goals are. But if you're watching all the way to the end here, thank you so much. I have loved this game and I love this community, and I really appreciate all the support I've had on my Palia videos. Also, if you've made it this far, continue subscribing to the channel and liking the video if you haven't already. It really helps my channel out a ton. I'm brand new in covering Palia, and I would really appreciate it. I'll let you all get back to playing the game and wish you all the best Palia day.